Are all people mentally ill?
I have no idea.
Is this the Dr. Ray?
I'm out of work. How do I find a job?
I don't know.
Boy, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Now, why would I say something so dumb?
I don't know.
I don't remember what I said. Help me out.
I listen to you all the time. You're my shot in the arm.
Well, it makes sense from your perspective and your individual brain.
And I guess that's true, but doggone.
Well, are you better than God?
No way.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
Oh, no!
Great stuff, Dr. Ray. Glad I called.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
I did not react like that when he said I'm going to have to change this channel. They stripped that from another point in the show. I didn't go, no, I'm not that shallow. I reacted that way when here in the studio someone came in and said we're out of coffee. That's when I went, oh! So I'm not that easily flummoxed. Nice to have you here on The Doctor Is In. I'm Dr. Ray Guarendi. That is the program. The Doctor Is In. Not a real doctor, as my son would say in kindergarten. Can you give shots, Dad? No, I can't. Well, then why do they call you a doctor? Not a real doctor. So, as a play doctor, if you'd like to call in, the number here, 877-573-7825. Now, if I were a real doctor, it'd be the same number, 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number to call. What kind of doctor are you? PhD, clinical psychologist, PhD, post-hole digger, putterer in the history of Denmark, Pizza Hut driver, my favorite, permanent head damage. Number 877-57-EQUAL if you have a circumstance, situation, person, troubling circumstance in your life, or not so troubling, just something that you've been trying to navigate, trying to manage, breeding some unsettledness in you. You want to talk about it? Feel free. I will share your unsettledness, and maybe between the two of us we can ease a little bit of that unsettledness. As often happens, people will call in piggybacking on previous calls, saying, I had that situation, here's what I did, or I had that situation, and here's what didn't work, or I had that situation, and Dr. Ray, I'm really here to give you a better answer because I think yours was very good. That probably happens more often than any of them. Sometimes people call in because they have a general question about the culture, about faith interacting with psychology, about all the aspects of the human condition like development, intellect, emotions, frustrations, relationships. 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number. My wife we first got married. She says, Ray, are you into books? I said, well, maybe not as much as I should be. She said, well, I think you need to, because if you're going to have a profession like psychology, or if you're going to get on the media, you really need to be informed. And I took her words to heart. I did. I remember early in our marriage, I made it a goal to finish one book a week. And the first couple weeks in our marriage, I finished a 290-page book. And I told my wife about it, and she wasn't all that impressed. But I said, honey, 290 pages in one book, that is a lot of coloring. My hand was getting a little sore, a little stiff, so I switched hands. Couldn't really stay in the lines. 877-573-7825 if you want more of that kind of pithy, axiomatic life guidance. I can't help the way I feel. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. I can't do anything about it. That's a mantra. Very prominent among people. Hear it in therapy all the time. As a matter of fact, it's probably accepted by most people. You just can't help your feelings. That's the way it is. You have feelings. I haven't talked about this for a long time, and I'm risking grief from my producer, man, Andrew Kruchek, and my call screamer, Eric Dumont. But the Everybody Loves Raymond show. There was one episode where she had built I think it was a jewelry box for auction at her children's Catholic school. And the jewelry box was falling apart as they were trying to auction it off, and Raymond started getting off some good lines. When they got home, she was very upset, very upset. She said, I just felt humiliated. I felt embarrassed. And he said, well, I was not trying to do that. Your feelings are wrong. And she said, don't tell me how to feel. Those are my feelings. You can't tell me if my feelings are right or wrong. And I used that example in one of my books, and I said, obviously, the screenwriters for that particular episode had Counseling 101 in psychology. And they said, well, feelings are neither right nor wrong. They just are. You can't help the way you feel. Come on, you know you've heard that from everybody in one form or another. I have a question for you. Do you think now as you did in your 20s? Dr. Ray, I'm 19. Okay, I'm assuming that your 20s are in your rearview mirror, and for many of us, they are receding rapidly over the past horizon in our rearview mirror. It's safe to say you don't think about a whole lot of things now the way you did when you were 20s. And by extension, you don't feel the same way. You don't have the same emotional reaction that you had about people or circumstances or situations or news, whatever it was. Your feelings are not the same about a whole range of subjects. Why? Well, it goes back to you think differently. How did that come about? How is it that you think so differently now? What happened? If your feelings are just your feelings and you can't do anything about it, they just are, well, how did those feelings change? How did they go away? How did they, in many cases, radically reverse themselves? When you were in your 20s, you may have felt that there was no God, or you may have felt that the Catholic Church was certainly not anything you wanted in your life, and you just felt that. It was a very deep feeling. And if anybody would have tried to reason with you, you said, I can't help the way I feel. That's just the way I feel. How did that change? If the Catholic Church is now a central core part of your life, your feelings changed, obviously. But they changed because your thinking changed. And that's how feelings change. Feelings change because you analyze, you assess, you tap into the way you're thinking about those feelings. I don't know. I just feel so uneasy around my mother-in-law. I can't help it. I see her, and all of a sudden, I just feel uneasy. No. You're feeling uneasy because there's something you're telling yourself about your mother-in-law. What is it? Well, you never know when she's going to say something. You never know when she's going to be critical. Never know when she's going to give an opinion that's not wanted. So your thinking is, my mother-in-law is unpredictable and she could at any moment say something I don't want to hear. Yes. Okay, so that's where that feeling's coming from. If you were to say to yourself, if you were to believe this, now you can say it to yourself, but believing it is another thing. But if you were to believe it, if you were to say, I can't stop my mother-in-law from saying what she's going to say. She's very opinionated. She thinks her observations are reality. I don't have to upset myself by what she says. I've known her long enough to know this is pretty predictable. This is what she does. Now, if that particular line of thinking was put into play when your mother-in-law was around, and you believed it, you wouldn't feel as uneasy around your mother-in-law. You wouldn't. Your feelings would change. So feelings are not just automatically locked into us. Feelings very much respond to our interpretation of people, of events. I used to do evaluations for a local nursing home. And sometimes we had young people come in who had tragic accidents, life-changing accidents. One might want to kill themselves, might want to say, what is it worth going on? Another might say, I got to get into rehab so I can recapture as much of my former life as I possibly can. Now, they both had the exact, or not the exact, but they both had similar life-changing accidents. One had a very different thinking process attached to where they go from here. The other did not. So the other said, I can't help it. I just feel depressed. How could I not feel depressed? So given that, the other one, who certainly was no doubt rocked by what happened to them, also peppered it with feelings of I've really got to do everything I can to just get back to as much normalcy as I can. What do I need to do? What kinds of things can I look into? What kind of interventions? What kind of exercises? What? And the depression wasn't as strong for them. So it's not automatic. Stuff can happen. People can say things. Events can envelop you. And it's your interpretation, your understanding of all those events. That's why some parents say, my 35-year-old kid doesn't talk to me and it tears my heart apart. And some others say, my 35-year-old kid doesn't talk to me. And then I've come to the conclusion that it's his life and I can't force him to do anything he doesn't want to do. And I want to live my life and I want to be at peace and I want to be happy in the Lord. And they live by that. One parent is totally emotionally destroyed. The other parent says, I'm moving on with life. And they don't have the same feelings because they don't have the same thinking. 877-573-7825. 877-57 equal. I'm Dr. Ray.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866-AVE-MARIA or visit AveMariaFunds.com. The Heart of the Interior Life with Elizabeth Jingle.
How do we respond to the gift of spiritual consolation? In the 10th rule of St. Ignatius of Loyola's 14 rules for the discernment of spirits, St. Ignatius of Loyola teaches, let the one who is in consolation think how he will conduct himself in the desolation which will come after, taking new strength for that time. When we receive the gift of spiritual consolation, the primary task is to welcome this grace and the blessing it is intended to bring into our lives, to strengthen us, to console us, and to fill our hearts with God's love. Father Timothy Gallagher writes, before spiritual consolation serves any additional purpose, however valuable, such consolation is above all a gift of God to be received with gratitude and from which to gain new energy in the ways God intends. It is God's look of love upon us, imprinting grace within our hearts.
For more information, visit AveMariaRadio.net.
Ave Maria in the Afternoon is underwritten by the following nonprofit organization: Real Estate for Life, Buying or selling your home or business property? Real Estate for Life can connect you with one of 1,400 pro-life real estate agents around the world. When Real Estate for Life receives a referral fee, they donate 70% to Ave Maria Radio and Human Life International. More information at realestateforlife.org or 877-LIFE-US1. That's realestateforlife.org.
Okie dokie, this is Dr. Ray here, and the doctor is in. Let's go to your calls. Mary is calling from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Dr. Ray.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks for taking my call.
Well, are we done with our gratitude? Are we done with our gratitude now, Mary?
Yes.
All right.
I try to be grateful every day, but I'm a mother of 6, and I didn't do everything right. I'm not saying that I did, but I'm I'm my 15th grandchild, and one of my children's my oldest son and his wife do not discipline their children at all, and it's to the point where they get hit. The youngest one had to have teeth pulled because he got hit by a real golf club in the mouth by his 5-year-old sister. And they don't listen to no. And I'm so concerned that I want to talk to them about it because I can't not say anything anymore.
Do they act this way at your house, Mary?
Pardon me?
Do they act this way at your house?
They act this way everywhere. They cannot find a babysitter that can take care of these kids.
Have you gotten any signals?
I don't like to take care of them.
Well,
and
you could.
I have a daughter that has 6 children. I can watch all 6 of them, no problem.
Well, Mary, you have every right to say I can't handle them. I can't watch them. Have you done that yet?
To a point. Yeah, kind of to a point I have, yeah. But I'm concerned about the future of these kids because they're running their parents, and their parents don't say no. They don't make them listen. And I just really think, I feel like I pray about it all the time. So I think I'm being prompted by the Holy Spirit or some of the Saint Anne that I prayed for.
You're either being prompted by the Holy Spirit or the fact that they're setting fires in your backyard. One or the other.
No, they're not setting fire. I'm really, it's a genuine concern. I'm really very, very concerned.
Mary, you got 2 levels of questions here. The first one is, what can I say? Is this your son or daughter?
My son.
Okay. So now it's a daughter-in-law. You'll be saying stuff to. Okay.
But her mother is deceased, and I didn't try to replace her mother, but I've tried to, be like. I love her to death. She loves my son. She loves her children, and she loves her cell phone.
Okay, let's get to it. If you have not heard at all from your son or your daughter-in-law their frustration at what's happening, typically when you have minimal discipline in a home, eventually the parents get very, very frustrated with what's going on.
Absolutely. I can tell it in his tone and his voice.
All right. So there's your opening. You can ask, hey, how do you like the way the kids are doing? Do they listen to you? You're just asking. You're attempting to poke the balloon so that it lets out air and you hear about this. And then you have your opening to say, well, what do you want to do about this? What kinds of things do you think you need to change? Okay? Rather than you saying, you've got to discipline these kids because when they grow up, they're going to be in prison. You understand that, don't you? They're not going to hear that.
I don't want to talk. I want have a nice talk, like a genuinely concerning talk with them, because
all right, then you got to.
I know they.
Then you got
I
it.
know they know there's a problem.
Okay, then you got your opening. You can ask them what kinds of things they want to do to make it better. But here's the second part of the equation, and this is something you can't do anything about. You said, I'm worried about what's going to become of them, which is a very legitimate worry. The problem, Mary, is it's out of your control. If these parents do not see the need to put some limits and conditions upon these kids, they're just going to get more and more difficult, and they're going to be, and their behavior is going to bring them into conflict with all kinds of people, school, and as they get older, dropping out of college, having a hard time holding a job, whatever it might be that manifests itself in their lack of discipline. So that's not anything you can do about it. My advice to you is quit worrying about that, because that's totally beyond your control. What you can do is what you're doing, which is praying, obviously, but you can also talk to your son and your daughter-in-law, if she's willing to listen, when they express their frustration. And you can ask them, do you like it like this? Did you think it was going to be like this? No, I didn't. I really don't enjoy them at all. Why do you think that is? What do you think is happening here that you're not enjoying them? Well, they don't listen. They just don't listen. Okay, so how do you think you're going to get them to listen? What do you need to do? In other words, you're going to get them to at least explore the fact that they need to change some things in their parenting by their own mouth rather than by yours. That's what I would do.
All right.
Now, Mary, I'm going to give you the bad news here. As a psychologist, and people come into my office, usually because they've hit their frustration limit with kids, some of them, it takes a good long while. The kid has to be 12, 14, 15, 17 before they finally say, I just really don't like this at all. What has happened? Some of them will say, he's 4 and I don't like this. I don't know how old your grandkids are, but I'm hoping they're still little. Are they?
5, 3, 1, and 1 on the way.
Okay. All right. They're still plenty little. And obviously they want kids. Obviously they got 4 kids under 5. That kind of says they want to welcome kids. So at
I love it. All my kids welcome children. All right. I love that.
Go get my best discipline book. I hate to push this on you, but I know when you call and you have these situations, I can only give you a few ideas in 4 minutes. But I have a book that is very, very popular. It's my bestseller, actually. It's called Discipline That
Kids in an Upside Down World.
That's one, but it won't be that relevant to them because their kids are too little. This one is relevant to them. Discipline That Lasts a Lifetime. It's 100 of the most common discipline questions I get asked from parents with kids ages 2 to 18. You can download it from my website bookstore, or you can order it from my website bookstore, whichever you want to do on that, and it'll just give them a
computers.
Get your 6-year-old grandson to do it for you.
Okay.
It will give them a ton of ideas on how to get discipline control and to love this parenting thing.
Okay, let me write that down. Hold on a minute.
All right.
Otherwise, I'll forget. I'm in my late 60s. I don't remember everything.
You're just a pup. Discipline that lasts, L-A-S-T-S, lasts a lifetime. That's right.
Okay. All right. Got it.
All right. I'll talk to you. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Dr. Ray heading up against a very hard break. And it's hard. I call it a hard break because, in the broadcast business, it means you have no wiggle room. Music starts, you got to stop because they're going to cut you off. I call it a hard break because emotionally, I don't want to leave yet. I don't want to stop talking. So it's very hard. It's very hard for me. And I thought I'd share that because of my sensitive side. Very nice to have you here on The Doctor Is In. Appreciate that. A lot of grandparents. See, not like the old days when grandparents were supposed to be the stereotypical softies who allowed the kids to get away with a lot. More and more grandparents are saying, my adult children are raising out of control, unpleasant children that I can't even babysit. Yeah, I know. And ain't nothing you can do about it unless they want to talk to you about it. It's really pretty much it. It's frustrating because you're impotent. But for the most part. Anonymous from Pennsylvania. He is a paw. No, he's calling from Pennsylvania. Hello, Anonymous. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
I got you.
Okay. This would be in a category of, I don't think you've ever encountered this before.
Stop right there. Wait a minute. Stop right there. My friend, I've been doing this for 45 plus years. There ain't a whole lot I haven't encountered before multiple times, and yours is nothing new. Go ahead.
Let's see. I would say twice in the last 6 months. It happened just the other day. I was dreaming, but in my dream, I actually thought that I was going to confession, and I was talking out loud. And
man, I hope you didn't say the big sins. Did you say the big sins out loud? Did your wife reach over and slap you?
I don't think so. But as soon as I realized that I was dreaming, I stopped. And I'm wondering if you've ever heard of that happening before, where in a dream, somebody was talking out loud thinking that they were going to confession.
Well, not specifically going to confession because, and I think one of the reasons for that, sir, is that all that many people don't go to confession anymore. So by and large, it's kind of an uncommon thing among the general population, that is. So that said, now in terms of talking in your sleep, that's not uncommon at all. And the things that people say or talk or little bits and pieces that come out is depends. It kind of depends upon what's occupying them. I'll give you a small example. This just happened to me about a month ago. My wife woke me up and she said, "You were just kind of you were distressed. You were kind of, I forget what word she used, but I was somehow moaning or something." She said, "Ray, you were," and I realized I was in a situation that was very, very threatening, and I was trying to figure out how to handle it, and it was coming out in verbalizations, whatever they were. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, do you have any idea what you were saying through your dream state?
Yeah, I did. I was, I was confessing, small things, basically. But my point was whether or not you've heard of that happening where somebody actually thought they were going to confession, and so they were confessing things, and then once I realized that it was a dream, I stopped.
Well, it's interesting that you would realize it's a dream because the vast majority of time, people don't realize they're dreaming. The dream is very real, and maybe if they wake up during it or shortly thereafter it, they may remember bits and pieces of it. But for the most part, people don't, within the dream, say to themselves, "This is a dream. I must be dreaming." Now, that's unusual, so in that sense. But here's what I think you're really asking. You're not asking if I've come across this. You're asking, is this something weird? Is something potentially wrong with me? Should I worry about this? Is that what you're asking?
I guess that's something that I could think of, but I'm basically wondering if you've heard of that, heard of this situation happening before, where somebody thought they were actually, in the confessional confessing to a priest, and they were talking out loud, and then realizing that it was a dream, so they stopped. I was just wondering if you heard of that situation happening.
Let's take this from two angles. My first response would be, let's say I said, "Yes, sir, I have heard of that." Okay, what would that mean to you if I said that?
Nothing.
Okay.
That
then
it's just that it's happened before.
Okay, now what if I said this? What if I said, no, sir, I have never heard of that? What would that mean to you?
That this is really something, and I've opened up a whole new category of what you've heard or have not heard.
Well, okay, I'll take that one. But what I was really saying is, how would it affect you? Would you worry about that? Would you say, well, I mean, this guy's a psychologist for all these years, and this is the first time he's ever heard of this?
No, I think the only way that I could hear about it was, let's say somebody had authority on do something and somebody confessed something serious, and then they thought, well, this person told me about it in a dream, therefore I'm going to go to the authorities or something. Now, that didn't happen with me because, like I said, basically just general things, but whether that kind of thing could happen,
I've never heard of that. But let me say this to you. Just make sure you don't do anything so serious you could get in legal trouble, because I don't know how much your wife is awake when you say these things. And she says, who is Sharon? You got to be careful there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So, hey,
all right, my friend.
Do you have time for one more quick question?
Yeah, I got about 2 minutes for the break.
Okay. I'm disabled. I've been disabled my whole life, 74 years old, and I was 3 months premature. I walk with crutches. I have limited vision, and I have involuntary laughter. Been seeking healing, been seeking a lot of things. I mean, I'm at the point now where I have grandkids that are driving, and I've never driven. What I'm getting at is this. Even though I do not believe this, with my situation where I really haven't had a whole lot of answers to prayer, I actually feel like God hates me.
Oh,
I know that's not
that's a
true.
big one. That's a big one.
Yeah, I know it's not true, but my feeling is that God hates me.
All right, stay right there. Stay right there. Don't leave me.
Yeah.
Don't leave me. The music's going to start here, and I misread the clock, but it's going to start in about 40 seconds. Did you hear my opening monologue where I talked about I can't help the way I feel?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you just said that. You said, I know God doesn't hate me, but I just feel that he does, right? That's what you said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to quote the character from Everybody Loves Raymond, specifically Raymond Barone, and I'm going to say your feeling is wrong. It doesn't matter what you feel, my friend. The reality is God, of course, does not hate you. Everything we know about God is that he loves you infinitely. So if you say, I think because I've struggled with these physical reasons throughout my life, that must mean that God is somehow punishing me, then my friend, your dream, your thinking is way off. And you got to tell yourself that. You got to say, my feeling is based upon wrong thinking. There you go, my friend. I got it in. I'll talk to you. I'm going to hang 10. I'm going to do right then and there. Josie called from Virginia, or she called from the VA, whatever it says there, Josie, VA. When I have stress dreams, in the middle of the dream, I will realize I am having a dream and wake up. Well, that's interesting. If that's an ongoing thing, and I don't know what she means by stress dreams. She left the phones there. I don't know what a stress dream is, something obviously happening in the dream that is distressing her, whatever that might be. And she realizes she's dreaming, which I would really want to know. I'd want to ask, how is that? How do you realize you're dreaming? What is it that happens in your dream where you believe this is just a dream And then she wakes up. Now, waking up could be the arousal. If you're going to be distressed, then physiologically, dreams are naturally autonomic storms. In other words, when you're dreaming, all kinds of things happen. Your heart rate increases, your respiration increases, your blood pressure increases, your galvanic skin response or sweating increases. The only thing that changes is that you have a certain amount of muscular paralysis. And the theory is that's part of the thing that is a protective mechanism to keep you from acting out your dreams. You ever see those cartoons, the Mr. Magoo cartoons, or some of those cartoons where somebody's having a dream and they're sleepwalking? And they are performing these incredible feats. They're walking along a curb, and a car comes, and they turn a certain way, and then they walk over something. And these are things that you couldn't have enough coordination to do were you awake. Well, that's totally false. Okay, if you're going to sleepwalk in a dream, and that's uncommon, but there's a reason for it. There's a physiological reason for it. I'm getting too far into the weeds. I'll stop real quick here in a second. Most dreams occur in what they call rapid eye movement stage of sleep. But some dreams do occur in a deeper sleep. And when that happens, that you're not necessarily muscle paralyzed. I mean, you can be in a state where you just simply start to get up. And I'm not saying you're going to act out your dream, but you're moving. And you're not real coordinated. So movements during a dream, when you get up and you find yourself in another room, which is not all that unusual, but it is unusual. Most people don't sleepwalk. You got there in kind of a clumsy way. I guess I would say that. All right. Lines are still open. 877-573-7825. Now, our question from our anonymous caller was, and a little bit here from Josie. Have you ever heard of this? I'm not really surprised by things that I haven't heard of because they fit into the context of the human condition. Pretty much anything can happen. Odd, unusual, inexplicable. This kind of stuff happens. It happens all over the place. It happens a lot. And the difference between me and you, and this is kind of ironic because I'm a shrink. I'm slow. I'm slow to give it psychological meaning. I'm much more likely to say, well, that's the reality of what happened. The explanation might be tough to figure out, but it doesn't seem to speak to any kind of underlying pathology here. But that's not how a lot of people interpret these oddities that happen to them. They wonder what it means. And they don't wonder what it means positively. They wonder what it means negatively. Something wrong with me? Am I losing a little grip here? Is this a sign of some sort of underlying dysfunction? What's going on here? Is my psyche unraveling? Got some loose threads? And that's what tends to happen. And parents do this all the time with kids. They will say to me, when I ask them, well, why didn't you stop that particular behavior? They'll say, well, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what it meant. You know, maybe he can't control himself. Maybe his brain's wired differently. He was diagnosed ADHD, so, you know, should I really expect him not to punch his sister? And what they do is they're kind of trapped into, is this normal? Because, see, if I'm scared that it's not normal, then maybe I can't react to it normally, which would be to discipline it and stop it. He's not allowed to punch his sister. ADHD doesn't make him punch his sister. So, all that said, because we've over-psychologized so much, that it kind of paralyzes people, especially parents, in terms of, I'm not sure what I should do about this. And I say, well, you stop it. It's nasty. Stop it. Well, yeah, but I know, but I know, but I'm not sure what it means. Maybe there's something up there that I'm missing, and maybe he's confused about something, or maybe he's having self-image problems. And then what happens is even if he is, you still got to deal with the conduct. All right, I better take a break. Got some calls I got to take to when I get back. This is Dr. Ray.
This program is brought to you by the following nonprofit underwriter.
Join Catholics at the Shore 2026, May 7th through the 9th at the beautiful Icona in Avalon, New Jersey. This year's theme, Needing Nothing More, invites you to step away from the noise and encounter Christ. Speakers include Patricia Heaton, UFC champion Bas Rutten, and pro-life activist Christian Hawkins, along with other powerful Catholic voices. To learn more, go to CatholicsAtTheShore.com.
Announcing again our popular St. Paul Mediterranean cruise and pilgrimage, visiting over 10 biblical sites. You'll never read the New Testament the same again after exploring Athens, Ephesus, Corinth, Thessalonica, Philippi, Crete, and the Greek Isles, and much more. Mass at Mary's house. Our luxurious celebrity cruise liner awaits you.
To learn more about your Ave Maria Radio trip, find the Ave Maria Radio Travel tab at AveMariaRadio.net.
The following program is brought to you in part by MyCatholicWill.com. Surveys show that more than half of Americans do not have a will. At MyCatholicWill.com, it takes as little as 15 minutes to write your will and secure a legacy of faith. MyCatholicWill.com is the exclusive online destination for creating a Catholic will. The process of writing a will is simple and now more accessible than ever. MyCatholicWill.com, a legacy of faith for those you love.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Do you feel as though life is flying past you? Are you desperate for a way to find moments of peace and quiet? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian prayer series, will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
People say it must be really nice to be you, Dr. Ray. You don't have any stress. Oh, yeah? I'll tell you, I do. It just happened. For example, I think it's Maureen, pronouncing that correctly, from North Dakota. She got on the phone and was saying some very, very, very nice things. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to go there. She's on the compliment line. We get somebody on the compliment line about every 6 to 8 months. And as soon as she gave her comments to Eric, she laughed. So that hurts. I'm stressed. Here's what she was saying. So I don't want to miss a chance for this shameless self-promotion. She says, you have 40 to 50-second reels on YouTube. That's right, I do. And my son, who handles them, he produces them, and he's very good at what he does. She enjoys them on YouTube, on my Facebook, and on Instagram. She says, you have one on the number of books in the Bible. That was really good. Maureen, if that is the correct pronunciation of your name, that particular post has always done very, very, very well. The first time we put it up, it hit 500,000-600,000 views. Basically, I'm gonna do it one of these times on the program here, but it talks about the logic problem. If you're not Catholic, the logic problem of how do you know you have the right Bible? And that one just has struck a chord with so many people because there's only so many options here that you can look at. And if you choose one option, you can't be sure you have the right Bible. If you choose the other option, you're basically questioning the Holy Spirit. So I'll get to that. But Josie came back. While I was talking about her stress dream, she came back. Josie, why'd you leave me in the first place?
You there?
What is going on with you, girl?
Are you there? Yeah?
I'm here. You left me. You gave me.
I am sorry.
What happened?
Well, you had somebody else more important there, and I thought, I'm going to let him talk, so that's why I got off. I'm sorry.
So this was purely an altruistic thing. You were thinking of my well-being.
Really was. Yeah,
Whoa.
it was.
I'm sorry for all the ugly thoughts I had about you the whole time.
What I wanted to explain when you had the previous caller is that I found that I realized that, you know, when you have a dream that you're supposed to take a test and you haven't studied. And
they're horrible.
Yeah, and then you haven't, and then you realize you haven't been to class. I mean, it kind of piles on. I realized that at some point in those dreams now, I know how to turn it off, because I'll come to the point in the dream and I'll say, wait a minute, I don't go to school anymore, and then I wake up. The same thing with, like, taking a plane. I'm at the plane, I'm late, I can't find. All of a sudden, I'll say, wait a minute, I'm not flying anywhere, and I'll wake up.
You, Josie, without realizing it, are smarter. You're not as dumb as I look. Let me put it that way. Okay. There is a technique in psychology that the therapists sometimes use for nightmares. And they give the person instructions while they're conscious about what to do should that dream occur. Now, you've done that on your own. You've basically said, okay, my response to this is I'm not in college anymore. Okay? And so that somehow, because of repetition, has been incorporated into your dreams.
That's it. Yeah, I realize now how to stop it. I called before about when I was dreaming and I was asked to calculate something, and when I calculated in my dream, it's like my brain just woke up, and I woke up, and I realized that anytime I have to think in my dream, I wake up. So another something else I realized, and you've talked about this before, that your brain is firing. I realized that a lot of times when I dream, it was something in the day before that just kind of popped up. So I realize now that if I don't want to dream about something, like I used to realize if I was watching like Shark Week and there was a commercial for the shark, I would have a dream that night. So now I know what I might dream about that I don't want to, so I tell myself not to, and I don't.
That's pretty good. Now, you know, Josie, the terrible dream I have is that I dream that somebody calls me on the program with a great question, and then before I can get to them, they drop off. Yeah. And then I tell myself in my dream it's probably Josie because she's done this before. That's it. That's what I do.
Thank you for your patience, Doctor.
Josie, God bless you, dear. Have a nice,
God bless you. Thank
pleasant dreams.
Okay, goodbye.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
God bless, Doctor.
You're welcome, honey. I saw this movie. I forget what movie it was. But in the scene, it was a comedy. And in the scene, the guy was in a dungeon, and he was strung up. Hands strung above his head. Legs in chains. Damp. I don't remember if there were rats or anything. It was just a horrible, horrible, horrible scene. He falls asleep, and somehow it indicates that he had this dream that he was in college, and he hadn't studied for the test at all. As a matter of fact, he hadn't even gone to class. And he walked into the classroom totally, completely unprepared. Those of you who've gone to college, you've probably had that dream. And he woke up, and he saw where he was, and he said, oh, what a relief. I'm not in college. That was only a dream. I thought, that says it all. This guy was strung up in a prison in a wretched condition, but he was so grateful that that scary dream he had in college was only a dream. I sometimes wonder if I had that dream, and I do have that dream, but it's fading away as I get older, because college is fading away, that it was because there were times when I went into class totally unprepared. Yes, that was the movie, Top Secret. You're absolutely right. I couldn't think of it. Val Kilmer, was that the guy that played in it? Steve Clark didn't play in it. Steve Clark, our engineer extraordinaire over there at Ave, said that's it. I think it was Val Kilmer. Yep, Val Kilmer. I think he passed away, did he not? Kind of young, actually. I think he had kind of a serious illness. Nick Rivers, yeah. So I don't have any time to take any more calls because I just simply badgered it away But we're having a live show tomorrow. Tomorrow will not be Look Back Friday. Tomorrow will be Look At Ya Friday. I'm going to be coming in every so often. We do that. We have a live program so that those who can just basically only, because that's their day off or for some reason, the kids are asleep, whatever it might be, it's a live program for them to call in. So tomorrow, that's what we're planning to do, myself, Andrew Kruchek, and Eric Dumont, if he shows up. But that'll be it tomorrow. Anything else I want to say? Yeah, I'm going to do that as a monologue tomorrow. That's my opening spring monologue. Somebody asked me, do you think that women have superior verbal skills? I thought about that for a little bit. And I said, well, duh. 30 seconds, heading to the end of the program. Thank you for joining me here. The doctor is in. Appreciate it so very much. The TV show Living Right with Dr. Ray airs on EWTN Global Catholic Television Network on Saturday nights at 10 o'clock. I think Tuesday mornings at 9:30, and then I think at 5 a.m. on Friday, which is 2 a.m. Pacific time. What are they trying to hide me? It's kind of like when you're Little League putting the weakest fielder in right field. Walk with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.